Welcome, this is Yonks, and this is us hosting our Solar EV Community Energy Innovation Prize Working Group number 2. And our project is barely just getting started, and we've got an amazing working group planned here today. Join with me, we've also got Tyler, Amy, and Robert. Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. And I'm going to hop right in on the agenda here today. So this is our agenda. I'm pretty sure that this got linked where everybody can see it. It might look slightly different because this is actually the Notion app. And I'm going to collapse some of these toggle headings here. So one of the things that we will continue to talk about is that we are still accepting new teammates for our Community Energy Innovation Prize. The deadline for our narrative is all the way in February. I believe it's February 2nd of 2024. So we literally have a long runway to create our team narrative. And that's one of the things, if you're interested, feel free to have a conversation. I've got a link where you can book some time on my calendar here. Would love to have a one-on-one with you and figure out how that you can best contribute. And we move very fast here. We use a lot of tools, but we will always take time to help people that are wanting to contribute and express interest. So the main place that you can also stay apprised is our Linktree. And this is something that we'll probably circle back on to potentially bring online as far as their pro. I was starting to look at what that would cost. I think it's only $8 a month, but this is one of the things that we will continue to keep updated. And one of the things that we will also do is that we're doing these events on our meetup group. And this is one of the things that we are looking to get better at is a hybrid event. And that's one of the things, if somebody has a good venue that they think would be a good fit for our working group, right now, most of us are in the North Denver area here that are in Colorado. So that's something that we can, if we have time, we'll circle back on that here later during our working group. But moving on down the agenda here, and upcoming opportunities, this is something that we'll also continue to keep updated. So I'm not going to go into the project priorities right now. One of the things that wanting to, and we'll come back to that here, I've got a opportunity, but office hours are, besides our working group that we have here, and really the office hours, we're really wanting that to be a much more casual conversation where one of the things that we want to do on a weekly basis, and we don't have an office hours scheduled here for this week, and time permitting, I'll create a let us meet so that we can see what that looks like. And we may kick our office hours where we might not hold one, because one of the things that we're doing this next week is we're also doing an office hours for collegiate track partners. Collegiate track partners is, while we're not personally submitting on the collegiate track, there are absolutely colleges within Colorado that it would make sense for us to partner with. And that's one of the reasons that we're hosting the collegiate track office hours at the College Hill Library, and that's on Tuesday, or on Thursday, my apologies, 1 to 2 o'clock. And that's something that there may even be some additional opportunity for a community hour. I'm not sure if it's this week or this next week, but we'll talk more about that as well. So besides the things that we spoke about on our office hours, and let me make this a little bit bigger for everybody on the other end, was demonstrating customer traction. And this is something that I spent a lot of time about between our working group last week and our working group or today. And this is something that I have felt pretty strongly about and had some initial conversations with Tyler and Amy as far as the opportunity for Community Energy Innovation Prize. And let me actually I love, Robert just talked about the Anythink library. I wasn't aware that the Anythink was open on Sunday. I would absolutely love Siri's getting in the conversation here too. So, and I see Double D has joined us. Looking forward to looping in Double D. Welcome to our working groups. But yeah, I will absolutely take a look, and that one would be an ideal location. We're at 120th and Washington, so that would be super close for us to pop over there to do this. So let me actually just put that as a next action. Schedule a room for at Anythink at 120th Ave location for next Sunday's working group hybrid.
I think you might be right that they're closed on Sunday, though.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the libraries, and my dad regularly patrons the main library in Aurora, and it sounds like that they're actually going to start closing. One that's an opportunity is my dad did tell me that Arapahoe County is interesting because Inglewood, where we've got a potential location for our site, is in Arapahoe County. So, and maybe I'll put this, maybe Arapahoe County Library System. And the other reason that the library systems are so unique is when you think of a community structure, a community institution, it doesn't get much more community foundational than a library. And then the fact that one of the opportunities that we're building into, and this is something that we'll be talking more about throughout our project, is creating opportunities for low and moderate income. My belief is that the people that normally visit libraries are probably on the lower end of the income spectrum, because a lot of the times if people that have an unlimited amount of money, they just buy a lot of the stuff instead of consuming it publicly. So anyway, coming back to the customer traction, one of the thoughts are right now is creating a Web3 AI for energy. And how that would relate to customer traction is one of the use cases, I believe, for AI is to take a utility bill, and the investor-owned utility that serves Colorado, at least here in the Denver metro area, is primarily Xcel Energy. Xcel Energy also serves Minnesota. Minnesota is another state that we're going to put very high on our expansion list. Part of the reason is because it's also serviced by Xcel Energy. So our process for onboarding customers will probably be very similar in Colorado, that's an Xcel Energy customer, as it would be in Minnesota. And there may be some nuances on a state-by-state basis. From what I understand, Minnesota has even better. So anyway, coming back to the Web3 AI for energy, is the thoughts are here is that an initial AI model could take somebody's utility bills and project how much that they would be able to save with a partnered community solar program. And of course, Solar EV is the community solar program that we're building out. And the nice thing about doing a tool like this is that it would be community solar program agnostic. That means that we would want to, of course, build this tool where any community solar providers, and I think that that's just a tip of the iceberg as far as how that data may be able to be utilized. Now, one of the other things that's a thought surrounding that is the opportunity, because like, who would benefit from owning or from this AI model? Well, that's one of the things that we could absolutely do with our Web3 and blockchain expertise, is that we could create economic incentives where if that data, and that's something that we would want to, anyway, So the thoughts are right now is to create an additional team submission. We already have existing people that have raised their hand and said, hey, I want to contribute to solar EV, that have existing AI experience and are wanting to build blockchain and AI models. So it would be a really solid fit. And if you don't know, the buzz in 2023 is unquestionably around AI. And that's where a lot of investor dollars are flowing. And when you think about like solar EV is an infrastructure play. We're wanting to deploy distributed energy resources that add resiliency to the grid and provide renewable energy solutions for communities that we serve. So it would be a very different business model. And I really think that it would hamper the opportunity around Web3 AI for energy for us to try to build that solution in-house instead of making it a separate project. And that's one of the fabulous things about how that we're building this, like Web3 Freedom Club is basically an incubator model where we want to launch another project like this, Web3 AI for energy, then we can very easily do that. And then when it makes sense if, at some point to make that its own DAO, then we could launch it as its own DAO. So that's kind of the vision that I've had for Web3 Freedom Club, is that this Web3 Freedom Club is my personal exit to community. And that's a very different model that a lot of startups and founders operate in, which is an exit strategy model. With Web3 Freedom Club, I'm really wanting to create something that I can personally plug into and contribute. And my goal for what we're building here is that it can operate without me and Tyler. Like Tyler and I, we have aspirations, probably more me than Tyler, to travel globally. And, you know, because anyway, I'm not going to go off on a tangent about that right now. So what does everybody think? Does anybody have any objections to doing another team submission? And the reason for the other team submission is, again, because we could potentially get a prize nod on all three of our team submissions. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking and let everybody else chime in some thoughts, concerns, and or support, however you want to go.
Amy, what do you think?
I was just gonna unmute. We are allowed to submit 3 in a particular challenge.
Is that a question?
Yeah, I'm asking.
So I think the rules are fairly similar to other HeroX American-made challenges, where like I personally probably wouldn't be able to be the team captain for all 3 teams, nor do I necessarily even want to be. And that's one of the things, like I even, a conversation that I had with Tyler, and I'll put out very publicly here, is with Tyler wearing the hat of CEO role for solar EV, I would rather have Tyler be the team captain for solar EV and maybe me be the team captain for community solar news. So I will double check the rules, but like I said, we've already got, besides the people that are on here and the people that are on here that have AI experience. And so my thoughts are, go ahead and spin up the team. It literally takes, you know, a couple minutes. And if we don't get any traction on it, or if like other people on the team are like, hey, you know, that's spreading ourselves too thin or whatever, my guess is that we can stake a flag here. And then like Web3 AI, Web3 is an increasing trending. AI is absolutely, and I don't know if there's any projects. Let's actually just go over to, and I'll go back to our link tree again here, and then go to our actual team page for Community Energy Innovation Prize. So, and here's the American-made challenge that we're talking about creating an additional team for. So like right now, I can't create another another team. Now, let me see if there's, because I've got a profile since I'm the team captain. But the thing that's I really think that's great about this is that the tagline of this is so broad and so open. And I'm going to just read here: provide support, build trust, and strengthen partnerships with underserved communities while advancing the clean energy transition. And this is something, Amy, that we can ourselves between now and next working group kind of dig in, read the rules, and make sure that there won't be any challenges with that. And I think the biggest challenge would be that I think you can only be a captain for one team. And the biggest thing right now is the nice thing about doing this right now is if we get traction, like, and we get some conversations with potential collegiate track partners, is that this will give 3 very different opportunities. And let me go back to our Notion here real quick. So, and the 3 that I'm talking about are, so we've got Solar EV, which is an infrastructure project, Web3 AI, obviously an AI project, and then Community Solar News, that would be a content play. And this is something that I've only barely begun to research. Like there is a page that I think is a Community Solar News.org, I believe. Let me Google it. CommunitySolarNews.org. I don't know why I landed wrong. So this CommunitySolarNews.org, I'm guessing that they're trying to provide a news channel. But then when I was looking at this particular site, it doesn't look like that they're providing any type of consistent content. And one of the reasons that I like Community Solar News is we absolutely need to create a content strategy. I already had in conversation somebody asking me if there's a newsletter that they could subscribe to our project. And this is one of the things that I don't know if doing a newsletter for Solar EV necessarily makes sense. It looks like that there's strong opportunity to do a community solar newsletter. The other idea, and this is something that I vocalized and have vocalized with this project and other projects, is our desire of doing a podcast. And I've already had some side conversations with Nick, and this is something that I will continue to put out. If anybody's interested in potentially being a co-host surrounding conversations for community solar and or Web3, that's something that I'm wanting to do, whether it's something that will deliver in 2023 or not. But the podcast for community solar, I think that there's enough opportunity surrounding community solar. I believe that community solar, and I don't think I'm the only one that believes that community solar is going to be one of the largest growth sectors within energy for the next decade. And a lot of the reason for that is because of all of the money that the federal government has refreshed through the Inflation Reduction Act. And that's one of the things I shared on our LinkedIn group too. And let me find that, the Washington Post article on community solar, because that was one that just dropped 5 days ago. I think it was on, yeah, let's see. So here's that community solar article, and I'll share that in Zoom for everybody, and I'll get my Restream dashboard open so that it'll go in here to the live stream chat as well. So this is a very fresh article from Washington Post. Washington Post is one of the biggest content creators on the planet. And this is talking, one of the things that I loved about here, I'm going to highlight this real quick for everybody. Finding a subscription to one, and that's talking about community solar. However, it can feel like you're trying to score Taylor Swift tickets. They're on sale, but only a lucky few can buy them. And that's one of the things that is going to be exciting, because the way that I understand the economics is we get the subscribers, we can get the funding all day long for our projects to deliver our subscriber savings that we're going to be providing. And we're looking to provide a 20% discount over their normal bill, so an 80% cost for their energy. And that's one of the things. But anyway, let me see. And I'm going to take this offline as far as going through and creating the team and move on from our agenda. So let's take that as an action item. I'm going to add that as a action item here. Review official rules for CEIP and ensure no problems with additional teams. And that's AI plus community solar news. All right. So before we move on, does anybody want to chime in the thoughts around the second and the third team submissions? And we'll be talking more about that. And I'll probably, like I said, I'll probably create a let us meet. And let me do this as a carryover here. Create let us meet for breakout conversations for CEIP teams, AI, community solar news. I'm going to turn that into a to-do. Okay, so the other thing that we talked about on our office hours to include as an agenda item for our working group was blockchain solutions for infrastructure and framework. So one of the things that we've got is in Notion, we've got a database that I recently renamed from tools, services, and vendors to just DAO solutions. And this is one of the things, I'm going to go ahead and change it to a group by project. And BitGreen, we tried to have a conversation with BitGreen. That didn't happen on a couple different occasions. And one of the things that I added was a priority. So I'm actually going to change the priority on this to a 0 because we gave him several opportunities, or I think it's a 1 to 5. So anyway, 5. So the other one that wanted to talk about here today is Energy Web. And Energy Web is they have their own existing blockchain, which I believe is EVM based. And let me do a search here for I'll just go back to our our working group, because one of the things that I love doing is doing relational functionality. So here was a article and resource where I related it to our agenda for today. So let's actually just open up the Energy Web, and this is in the article and resources database. So here's the link for the light paper. This is something that I would encourage everybody to have a better understanding about. And one of the things that we will likely do is schedule a breakout. I'm going to just go ahead and open this up in a browser window so that everybody can take a look at this. So Energy Web X is the next generation evolution for Energy Web. And this is their light paper that was published earlier this year. And it really talks about the thing that I got a lot of value about was Energy Web solutions and accelerating the energy transition. And right now, the transition is to migrate from these monolithic utility companies that are burning coal off-site, polluting our planet, and aren't building renewable energy and enough infrastructure So that's the transition that we're helping to facilitate. And this is one of the things, again, I would highly encourage everybody to read the light paper and see. And like I said, we'll likely schedule a breakout conversation. And that's one of the opportunities as participating in the team here, is that you have the opportunity to participate in some of these breakout conversations. And that's one of the things, if you're interested in those, make sure that you send me and or Tyler a DM so that we'll be sure to get you included, because we want this to kind of be a choose your own adventure as far as what we're doing. And those opportunities to choose your own adventure will only amplify, especially if we start doing some additional teams for Community Energy Innovation Prize, the additional teams being the AI team and the content team. So getting back to our agenda here for today, let me go ahead and check this box. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about that I didn't get on here, and I think that I've got this somewhere else. Let me see if I've got this in a window. I do right here. So the other opportunity that came up on my radar when I was starting to explore Energy Web is a community fund grant program. And this is something that sounds like it's very new. This Medium article, and I'll link this up to everybody here within Zoom. And I did add this article to our funding page. I'll show you where that's at here in a minute. But this is an opportunity, and let me see if I can open up. So here's the Community Fund Grant Program. This is the Medium article that they published. So whether it looks like it was written, and I'm not sure what the July 2023 is, but this is an opportunity that is very, very fresh within Energy Web Chain. I'm not sure who the validators, the Energy Web Chain validators, and this may be an opportunity for ourselves as we continue to build out our own infrastructure, is to be our own validator. But that's something just to kind of put forward for consideration. Right now, we're talking about the Community Fund Grant Program. So the rolling open call is now live. Teams with great ideas, submit your proposals. Don't forget to check the guidelines to make sure you comply. Formal evaluation, qualitative evaluation, award reporting, key details, scope. Let's look at the guidelines. So we're talking about the guidelines. So this is some more things. This is something that I will review. And these are the kinds of opportunities where, when we're just coming across things, and the reason that I come across things like this is I spend a lot of time researching stuff as far as different opportunities that we have to get the project to the next milestone. And like this, because like right now, the only opportunity that we have to get feedback on our project through some channels. And that's one of the things that I view these types of things as an opportunity to get feedback and improve upon our narrative. Because one of the things that we want to do is to create the most polished narrative as possible. Because not only for our Community Energy Innovation Prize, but really, I'm personally looking at this HeroX, this American-made challenge that we're building our project for, as an opportunity to also build collateral for our security token offering for Solar EV of Colorado, which we're still planning to do on our roadmap for February of 2024, in tandem with the conclusion of the submission for Community Energy Innovation Prize. So that being said, this is, again, some more homework for people that are interested in doing a deeper dive, the light paper with Energy WebX and the Community Fund Grant Program. So does anybody want to chime in some thoughts about Energy WebX and or their Community Fund Grant Program? Cool. I'm going to keep on going down the agenda. So this is a PPA for our solar EV. This is something, Amy, that you put on our agenda during our last office hour. So I will defer to you to talk about this item.
Yeah, I contacted an attorney that is in the sustainability uh, world, but he hasn't gotten back with me on who his PPA attorney in his group is. So I'm gonna try to reach out with him again. But didn't you say that we're not using the PPA in our program right now and not to worry about that?
To be clear, I think that we absolutely need to have one, because like the opportunity, like for Boulder, the pilot opportunity for solar EV that I'm personally most excited about is doing our solar EV parking lot model in the 24-hour fitness for Boulder. And I think that it would be irresponsible for us not to provide the opportunity for 24-hour fitness that has an energy bill to allow them to come on and be an anchor subscriber. Now, the biggest thing that we need to develop here that we've got a tangible goal about, and this is actually the next bullet point here, is we have a goal of onboarding 10 solar EV subscribers. And my understanding that a PPA is a very different dynamic than a community solar subscriber. And one of the things that we'll talk about here, and the biggest thing that we need to have within the PPA agreement, Amy, is that electricity will be prioritized within the community solar program for EV charging. So that's the biggest opportunity for us to, as a project, to monetize the project with the highest premium, because EV charging is the highest premium for electricity that gets sold, at least my understanding. And I'm not going to pretend to be an energy expert. This is just based upon my own personal experience. But based upon my personal experience, EV charging is the most expensive energy that gets regularly sold within a metro area. So the PPA that we need to create, like 24-hour fitness, for example, this would be like, I would love to have that conversation. If we had a PPA that had the solar, the DC or the EV charging component that we could get on board, I would love to have that conversation with onboarding the 24-hour fitness in Boulder, because the thing is that just adds solid evidence that we're checking this box as far as like business process and having an agreement in place. But the biggest thing that we really need, and this is something that those conversations will amplify, and as I mentioned in a previous working group, Amy, I'm going to loop you into those conversations. Anybody else that's interested in being looped in on like the conversation for developing our low and moderate income business process? And let me actually just bring that up right now. And I'm actually going to bring it up in an incognito window, because this is something that I prioritize so much that I actually created lmi.solarevcoop.org as a easy to reference web page that redirects to our Notion page here. And as you can see, this is the process for LMI household verification in Colorado with solar EV. And the two stakeholders that I have on this right now are myself and you, Amy. And this is one of the things, we don't have a lot of docs. And this is actually within Notion. I'm not going to digress on that right now. But this is a pretty nice summary page that talks about our pilot communities. We're wanting to do a pilot community in Boulder, specifically within that opportunity zone that we identified. And let me go ahead and actually bring open our, I'm going to see if I have it in a.
Thank you. Is it
Go ahead, Amy.
Uh, I was gonna say when hold on, I was trying to look for the when I was going through the community grant solar thingy, not the grant, but the community solar information. The PPA applies for, it's two separate things. The PPA applies for like if the fitness place wants to finance it directly or we finance it for them and they pay us. The community solar is for anybody that wants to be a subscriber can be part of community solar. I just wanted to differentiate one from the other.
Yeah, no, and yeah,
There's hybrid, I don't know if we can do a hybrid. I don't know if that's allowed, but that's, when I was going through the course, that's what they were explaining.
yeah. So you're absolutely correct. Is that the PPA, like for 24-hour fitness, would be a very different agreement than a solar EV low LMI household. And that process will also look very different. But right now on screen, this is the solar EV in Colorado Google Maps that we have created to just put where we're looking to do our pilot sites. And the reason that these, and there's some additional opportunities too, because like besides what, and let me actually bring up our one pager here real quick. So let me just go to our main project page. So the reason that I was wanting to bring up the one pager, what is solar EV? I think I've got it right here. Let me just make this in a new window so that I can make it bigger. So this is our one pager that we created for solar EV. And one of the things too, just as a slight tangent, this was created here for our prior to HeroX team submissions, the Solar Prize Round 7, as well as Community Power Accelerator Round 2. One of the things that added through our Community Energy Innovation Prize, and let me show you here real quick on our team page, and is equitable, solar EV, equitable, decentralized community solar. And the reason that added equitable is that there's so much within the Justice 40. And this is, from what I understand, Community Energy Innovation Prize has some very heavy leanings. And let me go back to our LMI page here. So the reason that I was wanting to show the meaningful benefits here. So the meaningful benefits, and I don't think that this has this slide in. I think it's in this actual other one over here. So this is something that I would really encourage everybody to go through. I actually created a playlist. Let me link everybody up on the playlist. This is a playlist that I created on Solar EV Co-op DAO, and this probably because I don't think NREL had a playlist that they had created, which is an opportunity for them. But this is a webinar series that NREL Learning did earlier this year that's got community solar building with benefits. And the thing that I was wanting to show was this is where this webinar series is broken down. Linking that up for everybody here. Building with benefits. Meaningful benefits is a foundation for equitable community solar webinar series. Tyler and I started going through this webinar series, and we actually listened to or watched the low to moderate income access. And I might even defer or go in there, but the 5 meaningful benefits that I wanted to talk about was greater household savings. And that's one of the things, as you can see within our one-pager, that we have incorporated with guaranteed electricity savings. And like talking about the PPA, the opportunity here, Amy, would be, I do think that it would make sense to get signed PPAs from at least like some of the businesses within Diagonal Plaza there in Boulder. Because like, regardless of whether we do the community solar within the 24-hour fitness parking lot, these PPAs are PPAs that we can absolutely use to get our project financed through traditional financing. We're not anticipating using traditional financing for that, but it may provide a slice. And I would rather have more options than less options. So I do think that we should get as many signed PPAs as possible, because that just provides more opportunity to capitalize more projects within these pilot communities. And then we can determine which projects that we want to prioritize based upon what are the most strategic for providing returns to investors. And that's one of the, and we'll talk more about that as far as creating the economic incentives. Those conversations are very, very preliminary. So this Building with Benefits webinar series, definitely encourage, like the one that I'm planning on listening to next is the community engagement and innovation. Like right now, the campaign that I'm most personally focused on is our collegiate track partners. The reason that I'm personally most focused on this is it has a deadline of November 3rd for a collegiate partner to submit their narrative surrounding, and that's literally just like 2 or 3 weeks away. So that this community engagement, that would be us creating community engagement, is by, instead of collegiate partners reaching out to us, we're being proactive and saying, hey, college, here's the opportunity. We can be your community partner for building out a co-developed community solar program. And that's one of the things that will be really exciting, as the more that we can co-develop community solar with key stakeholders within the community. Like Tyler and I went to Flatirons Church. Flatirons is one of the mega churches that exist within Colorado. And that's another really strong opportunity. When we were driving home from church, we turned on US 287, and US 287 is a main north to south highway that goes through all the way up to northern Colorado. They're in Loveland and Fort Collins and Lafayette, where the main Flatirons campus is. And then when I was looking inside, Flatirons College, established in 2022. And the reason that the Flatirons Church, the community church there, is that they have a very, very large parking lot that would make huge sense for deploying a parking lot solar, community solar dynamic. And probably, I don't know if their building has any rooftop solar. My expectations will be less to deploy from a cost standpoint than parking lot solar. So guess what? That's going to be a conversation that I have very early next week is, hey, whoever the administrator is at Flatirons College, here's an opportunity for us to hand in hand and create a community solar surrounding faith-based organizations. And as you can remember, Amy, one of the case studies that was in the introduction to community solar was a faith-based organization. And that's one of the things from a content strategy standpoint that we can incorporate is, like, for example, developing community solar programs where we're co-developing it with a faith-based organization like Flatirons Community Church. And that's just one of several churches that makes sense. The reason that Flatirons makes sense is their proximity to US 287. That qualifies it for NEVI. NEVI is federal government funding, and in order to check that box, it has to be within 1 mile of a US Department of Transportation. That's one of the things that we have incorporated in, and I'm actually going to go back to our project page within our project priorities, like site selection here, funding, capitalizing, site selection. So must be within 1 mile of alternative fuel corridors. These alternative fuel corridors, here's a screenshot. Here's the Colorado highways that make sense. The one that I was just talking about, US 287. The reason that one's interesting to us is that US 287 is literally like right up the street for us. And it's one we're also interested all the way up to northern Colorado. US 287 turns into College Avenue right next to CSU in Fort Collins. I'm not sure if Fort Collins is Xcel Energy or not, but CSU is another collegiate track partner that we're going to have hopefully have some conversations with here this next week. So anyway, I wanted to we've kind of been all over the place. This started out about the process for LMI household verification, but right now, and let me actually go to our office hours notes here. So this is our collegiate track office hours, and this is where Tyler, myself, and Amy contributed some ideas for collegiate track partners. Let me get down here. So here's the college ideas, and I'm going to create a sync box here real quick for this. Copy a link to block, and I'm going to actually throw this on our main project page as a site selection. I'm going to just put this as a toggle heading here. Collegiate track partners. Paste and sync. So this was some ideas that we had earlier, and I wanted to pause. The reason I was bringing this up is I wanted to see if we had any additional ideas. Robert, if you've got any additional ideas as somebody that's spent a good amount of time here in the Front Range for any that we don't have on the list currently. I'm going to add Flatirons College, Flatirons Community Church. So does anything stand out? Did you have any additional ideas, Tyler, that you thought of?
No, that's a good list.
And the Auraria campus, this is also one that would be, my expectation is that this one will be the most plagued as far as bureaucracy involved, because the Auraria campus they make millions of dollars off of selling access to their parking lot, but there's multiple stakeholders involved. Metro State University, which is their main campus, CU, Denver, and that's one that there may even be a change.org petition opportunity. We've talked about doing a change.org petition for RTD, and that's one that we'll probably talk about with the focus here on collegiate track partners, where we've got the deadline of November 3rd. I've personally mentally curbed any additional efforts outside of collegiate track partners till after this November 3rd deadline. So that's just kind of how I'm personally operating, just so everybody knows. And I'm actually going to bump this one up even higher on the list, because these ASES chapter members are ones that there was some points of contact, specific points of contact there. The other ones, I'll probably bump this one up here because this falls under CU Boulder like that. And Front Range Community College, I've already done a little bit of stuff with this one, so I'm going to even move this one a little bit higher. And when I say doing a little bit of stuff, let me actually go to the YouTube playlist. All right, well, we'll continue to talk about, and the biggest opportunity is we've got our collegiate track office hours, and that's where I'll get the meetup and everything squared away for that. That's going to be Thursday from 1 to 2. That's a hybrid event that and I've only got a study hall allocated and booked currently. Now, what I would love to see happen is that actually get some traction between now and Thursday, that we could potentially even get a, like a venue within one of, like, Front Range Community College, for example, or CU Boulder, or, wherever, if some of these conversations move forward where could potentially do a hybrid event on their campus, I would much prefer that instead of a study hall room at the College Hill Library, but that's close enough. The study hall room that I've got only allows for myself plus 5. I don't know if that's one of the things that Meetup accurately incorporates for, is a in-person venue limitation. But that's one of the things. The hybrid events is super new. Meetup has only launched that feature within their platform literally this month. So we're blazing new ground with us utilizing the hybrid events format. And that's one of the things that we will continue to amplify. Tyler and I are committed to becoming experts at hybrid events and webinars. We're wanting to incorporate webinar and a webinar marketing strategy for some of our outreach and traction opportunities as well. So anyway, I saw Double D is on the call and wanted to bring up his contribution to the one pager, and let me actually get that up here real quick. So this is the one that I created that has all of the ideas in it. Let me bring up the one that Double D. And I know that you were working on some other assets, Double D. Did you want to talk about those now? I'm not sure if he's able to have some conversation right now. Let's see, here he is. I saw a chat there that's saying he can't unmute. So we'll take a look at the one pager. The Double D here is the one. So the thing that I love about this is it absolutely incorporates the branding elements much more clearly into this. And this is one of the things I'm going to just add here. Equitable, see how that does. Solar, and I'm going to change this because I like just doing solar EV. Equitable. And I honestly probably think that equitable community solar is probably more important and relevant than decentralized. So if we had to take something out, I would rather it be decentralized. I think that means much less to most people. And the thing that I like about this is, and I'm actually going to change this project location. I'll leave that on there right now. This is our Tesla House Co-op, which is our flagship proof of concept for quad co-op. Solar EV is one of the components in here. We've got for our solar EV parking lot model. I'm going to actually change this to pilot communities. So how's everybody liking this one pager compared to the one that we've been looking at?
I think it looks good. It's clean.
And I've actually got a solar EV co-op. Oh, I missed the link up. So one of the things too is I would like to get like we go to a good amount of meetups, and one of the things that I would like to do is to have something laminated, and this is just moving a little OCD on formatting here. I think it looks cleaner being on the next line. And I'll work on cleaning this up. I do like that it's a more of a branded look and feel. And one of the things that I wanted to deviate from, did you have any other collateral that you wanted that we should look at right now? One of the things that we have a need for, Double D, is a circle logo. Like right now on our link tree, I don't have anything that I can put in for here. And this is one of the things is I'm continuing to build out social media. Like one of the top things that we're going to do is to create a Web3 Freedom Club DAO page on LinkedIn and a solar EV co-op DAO page on LinkedIn. And one of the things, and this is just me talking out loud, we'll probably create a project page for Solar EV of Colorado, because one of the things that we're going to be very intentional about is creating the conversation on a state-by-state basis. Because one of the goals that we have here is to create a model that we can largely copy and paste from and deploy in another state. Like one of the things that we're already communicating is a multi-state expansion strategy for 2025 and beyond. Because the goal here is to see how much of this 380 billion or more of credits in green energy incentives that the Inflation Reduction Act has put forward, because I'm pretty confident that we're going to be able to create better, equitable projects than anybody else by our commitment to use blockchain technology, and then also how that we're looking to fund and capitalize our projects. And that will become a lot more clear as those conversations unfold, as we're working towards our security token offering for Solar EV of Colorado in 2024. So there's still a lot, and let me actually just show, go back to, I'm going to close out these windows here. Go back, close out some of these windows, because these windows, when I don't close them out, it makes my computer. So going back to this is the main target area that we're looking. So okay, I will add the circle logo in the Google Drive file. Love that. Thank you so much, Double D. And one of the things I'm gonna go off on this tangent real quick. DWork is our platform for doing task management. I've been showing Notion. Notion is our knowledge base and our wiki, whatever you want to call it. This DWork is where that we look, and this is one of the things, I know, Robert, you created your Web3 wallet. This is one of the sites that you can connect your wallet, and this is where some of those tokens will come into play. One of the other things that we will be providing, like today, everybody that's participating in our working group today will get 50 tokens for Web3 Freedom Club DAO, for Solar EV Co-op DAO, and Solar EV of Colorado. Now, we talked about doing a couple additional teams like Web3 AI for energy and Community Solar News. Those will be their own tokenized projects. And when people participate and contribute to those projects, they'll get tokens for those projects as well. So this is one of the things that we will continue to utilize. And right now we've got a board in here for Solar EV Co-op DAO. And this is one of the things that I will get cleaned up a little bit, because right now this is our second working group for Community Energy Innovation Prize. And this is one of the things that really wanting to get better at within different things is, like right now, our efforts are surrounding collegiate track partners. And that collegiate track partners would categorically be a project that's got a functional deadline of November 3rd. Now, depending on if we actually get some collegiate track partners and then that progresses, then we might do some additional projects related to supporting our collegiate track partners. So this is something that we'll continue to work at. And this is one of the things that would really like, as people continue to get more autonomous within what we're building, and use like what Tyler and I are doing as examples, because I'm going to create some tasks for some stuff that we are doing and have done. Like Double D has created a one-pager. I created an initial one-pager, and Double D improved upon it by incorporating branding elements in the logo that he's created for our project. So this is one of the things that we do using these tokens, because the goal is, like with Solar EV of Colorado, whenever we do our security token offering, we're wanting to convert these social tokens into the security tokens. And there will be, of course, some conversations with the legal. I'm pretty confident that there won't be any challenges, but you might have to go through some additional know your customer. So awesome. I see Double D chimed in, added Solar EV YouTube banner and a 30-second video on the drive file as well. So that's one of the things that we will like here, going back to our Notion agenda. We had like all of these colleges, and this is the, let me get back to the agenda here real quick. So we had all of these colleges that we incorporated, like, you know, there might be one where somebody has a connection or some connections, and like the more as we continue to build on, like one of the other things that I'll actually just do that here. I don't know if I've got the right board set up. So let me see here real quick. So this is some of the tasks that we created. So like, enroll as an individual to join the National Community Solar Partnership. And let me see what details up, because this is one that everybody that's on the call today has the opportunity. We actually had a great breakout conversation with Anthony from the Lawrence Berkeley Lab that's contracted, that's basically a U.S. Department of Energy extension at Berkeley there in California. So I personally joined, and I think that there's let me share this link with everybody here. I'll just open it up. So the National Community Solar Partnership is a free resource, and this is the thing that's so fabulous about it, is that it doesn't cost anything to join. like there's a trade association that I was looking at, and I think that trade association costs like, I don't know, $3,000 a year for members to join, and $3,000 a year to me is pretty cost prohibitive. For whatever reason, it's not copying here on my window. Breaking my computer here during the live stream. So anyway, here's the link for that. Let me see if I can get the link to this task. Copy task link. Maybe my Zoom is having problems. Anyway, I'll make sure that everybody's got that. That's something that have been talking about for a while. So getting back to the agenda, and I'm not sure if I had too much else prepared for the agenda here real quick. Oh, let me just close that window. So we talked about the low and moderate income household, and most of the other stuff that I've been talking about was ad hoc. So what else, like, does anybody want to chime in some thoughts as far as the tasks and the stuff in D-Work? This is something I haven't even personally submitted. I actually joined NCSP on the deadline for our Community Power Accelerator on October 4th, and I haven't even submitted. So this is kind of an opportunity that I have to do a better job at, is submitting my own contributions for this. And this is something, just to clarify, like, we've got this as one task point. This is something that we're going to reward 25 tokens across our projects for what we're building on here. And just so that everybody knows, Solar EV is our flagship project for Web3 Freedom Club DAO. Web3 Freedom Club, like, this will be the first time that we've awarded any tokens for Web3 Freedom Club. And that's one of the things, as conversations expand, like already talked about some additional ones. So here's a link that Robert just shared in Zoom about the National Community Solar Partnership. And this is a great resource, again, and let me see if I can actually just, I think it's a community energy. Let me see if I can actually just go and log in and join the partnership. Because I should already be logged in here. Update to your profile. So this has also got some questions, and let me actually go into our Notion agenda real quick. Maybe my keyboard is running out of juice, is the opportunity here. I've got a cordless keyboard. Let me see if I can plug this in. So if anybody's got any questions when they're going through, like, I had some questions myself. Some of these fields were optional, and there was, I don't know if there was. So 1,850 group members. Let me make this bigger. I think my keyboard is working again. So there was a couple different things that was on here. There was an opportunity that I saw that I was going to see if it was still here. So a lot of great resources, and I can't remember if there was a resource, maybe it was on the resources tab. I haven't even started going through all of this resources that are available here. And the more like this is one of the opportunities that we have is to get technical assistance with our application. There was also the power connectors, but this is one of the things that, as I personally see more resources, I'm personally committed to becoming a community solar expert. And one of the reasons that I'm wanting to do the breakout project with Community Solar News is that I think that it will be a better framework for me to personally contribute and to become and will force me to become a community solar expert by compiling newsletter worthy resources within our community solar newsletter, and then also on the podcast conversation. And again, anybody that's been interested in hosting or co-hosting a podcast, or even on the flip side, like if you're interested in producing a podcast, and like one of the things that is an opportunity with our live stream is we would love to have somebody that is a live stream orchestrator, because that's one of the things that could improve the quality of our live stream is with a tool like OBS. But anyway, that's a little bit of a tangent from the conversation. One of the things I'm going to work on compiling is a community, and not just a community solar, but a solar newsletter to see what solar newsletters are available while we're building out our own community solar newsletter, and then also compiling some best practices for launching a paid newsletter. I'm wanting our community solar newsletter to be a $10 a month subscription. And then on the flip side, that's one of the things that I'm wanting to provide as a free benefit for partnered community solar organizations, where we can provide that community solar newsletter as a free benefit to any existing community solar subscribers. So this is something that I'll compile. Like here was a list that I was looking at the other day. Top 25 newsletters every solar energy expert is reading. I want to become a solar energy expert. So reading newsletters that other experts are reading, and here's a bunch of sign up links. And this is something that if other people, like I personally today don't consume a lot of newsletters. Real quick tangent, like Amy, myself, and Tyler here this last Saturday or yesterday, one of the things that we do is we host a Saturday morning book club, and the Tilt is a newsletter that Joe Paluzzi, the author of Epic Content Marketing. So this is the newsletter for professional content creators. When we launch Community Solar News, that will categorically put myself into a professional content creator. Because like right now, if I had to say, what team am I going to personally, out of the three that we're looking to submit, and this is of course that there's not any problems within the regulations standpoint, I would personally want to lead the Community Solar Newsletter team, and then Tyler can lead the team here. I don't expect that we will deviate from our working group. This time, Sunday 2 to 4 is one that we've got a lot of history with. There might have been a slight deviation from a time standpoint on previous projects, but Sunday afternoon is typically a great time where people, because we're fully expecting people to have a normal 9-to-5 job through the week that they're contributing to. And anyway, getting off a little bit here, but getting back, I want to provide, like we've had a couple things carry over, but this is also a great opportunity where we can open it up, where we can work on either our agenda for next Sunday, and because right now I don't think it makes sense to commit to doing an office hours. So let's actually do that. So one of the things, one of the reasons that I love doing Notion is our template capability within Notion. I'm actually just going to copy this onto my clipboard here and use our template. We have a template that we use. This is one of the things that makes it easier for me to do a new working group. So this is our working group for next Sunday, working group number 3, and this will be the 22nd. So we're talking about the agenda. So one of the things, and let's actually just go around, do a round robin here. I'll kick it over to you, Tyler, for what you would like to see discussed at next week's agenda.
I think a couple things. One is we need to figure out the who's able to do what before. So if I think Robert had mentioned the libraries and United Power. I don't know if those are action items that you can take. And then as far as the community newsletter, what format that would look like, the podcast, starting to nail down specifics on if is that something we want to do and kind of get that.
Okay, slow down here, Tyler. You're a little rapid fire for me. So I got who is able to do what. So, and let me actually just do more of a role start to define roles and responsibilities, because
here let me pause for a second. Robert, Double D, and Amy, I know you have used D-Work in the past. Are you guys comfortable with using D-Work as a way that we can start putting out work and then see who's available for it?
No, I'm not familiar with it.
I can create it's a pretty easy mechanism, and this is something that we can spend a little bit of time right now, or we can have. I'm thinking that it may be better to just have
Brooke's starting to melt, so I'm not going to be much for the rest of this call. But Jason, I'll give you some stuff after we're done. But she's starting to melt here.
Okay, cool. So that's a start. Let me go ahead down the list. I'll go to you, Amy, next, as far as one of the things that you would like to see us put forward from a priority standpoint for our upcoming working group next Sunday.
I think if we are looking to submit for the collegiate track is to put a little bit more concentration on that. Are we going to pursue that or not?
So what's going to happen, Amy, is that we're going to go through, like we've already got, let me actually just open this here, since this is something that I added. And let's see, I'm going to actually bump this up to even a higher dynamic right here. So make this I'll go ahead and 2. So I'm gonna send out some communications on. It's not up to us. Like if there's some interest, like I'm gonna send out some communications, and if anybody wants to own, for whatever reason, a point of contact, like this is one of the things that there's a long list here, and I haven't even. This is just something that we brainstormed during our collegiate track office hours. So I would really like to see some traction with a potential collegiate track partner. Depending on what kind of traction that we get with that conversation, those conversations may get a life of their own that could cause a potential fundamental shift from a priority standpoint. Like if we could get Front Range Community College to like on board with their Westminster campus, I mean, that could potentially be a 2 to 5 megawatt opportunity if they get fully on board with the pilot community solar program. So, it may, depending on, if we get interest from that. So that's going to be a very, work in progress dynamic. Like one of the things, and let me actually bring this up because I didn't talk about the blog post, and let me do that here real quick.
I just have a suggestion, and I haven't been in any of the college's website, but most corporations would have a vendor area where you can sign up as a vendor, and that should start initiating a conversation with whoever is their person that is in charge of either sustainability or marketing or solar, things like that. But
So here's my thoughts on that idea, is that that's a very different workflow than getting a student body and or a faculty member, because like the vendors is so we're wanting to get a student and or faculty that says, hey, we want to submit a collegiate track team submission for the Community Energy Innovation Prize. And when we're talking about being a vendor, that is a different than getting a college to say, hey, let's partner with Solar EV as a community partner for doing a community solar program. That's my expectation. Now, I think that outside of the context of this collegiate track team submission for Community Energy Innovation Prize, I think that you're probably right that may be worthwhile. And it just depends on really that how that we want to engage, because like that's the great thing about this, is that we don't have to do one or the other. We can absolutely do outreach for whatever, like sending emails to some of these points of contact at like the renewable energy department and or the points of contact with the American Solar Energy Society. This is a blog post that we're looking to, this would, I think, functionally be our first official like blog post for solar EV and or Web3 freedom. And this is something that Taylor created largely using ChatGPT. I haven't personally spent any time. This is one of the things that I'm going to do here today, is to work on refining this. Like one of the things that we talked about was the 5 meaningful benefits. I think pivoting a little bit and incorporating the 5 meaningful benefits and how that we're looking to incorporate the 5 meaningful benefits within our project architecture, I think is a real opportunity. There's some really great stuff in here that Taylor put forward. And this is one of the things, like I'm going to create a task on DWork where Taylor is going to receive a token or tokens for his contribution that he made for this. He probably doesn't even know it yet. And that's the thing that's fabulous about this asynchronous workflow that we can build through our DAO model and the tooling that we're using. So anyway, kind of got off track a little bit, but talking about this blog post, and let me actually share a link here with everybody so that I think everybody, and I'll do that, send that link here. But yeah, so I love that wanting to continue to focus on the collegiate track partners opportunity. And let me make sure that we've got that captured. Continue concentrating on collegiate track partnerships campaign.
So you're not talking about collegiate track and field results where they are going up against other universities and athletes and stuff. You're talking about a different type of track.
Correct. And thank you for clarifying that, Robert. Let me actually go to our project links homepage at solarevcoop.org. And I'll put this into, because there's 3 tracks that are available within the Community Energy Innovation Prize. And that's how we've been abbreviating that. Like this working group is CEIP. CEIP is the abbreviation for Community Energy Innovation Prize. So and this will make more sense when I go to not our team page, but the project homepage at Community Energy Innovation. And I'll link that up here in Zoom for everybody. So the timeline, and this is what we're talking about right here. October 15th is where we're at. November 3rd, collegiate track, concept phase submission deadline. And this is something that there was an update here the collegiate track webinar. I watched this webinar, looked at the slides. Let me actually, slides in the resources section. And here's the slide deck. It's wanting me to download this. So here's the slides, and the one that I was wanting to talk about, because this is why that it's strategic for us to do that, is the way that the prizes are awarded is that the academic institution only gets the first phase of this, and then the community partner, which would be us, would actually get these other phases. So like the way that I would really see this unfolding, where it would make a lot of sense, like Front Range Community College, like the Westminster campus that's at really close to 112th and Federal, that campus location would qualify for NEVI and Charge Ahead Colorado. And Charge Ahead Colorado, besides whatever funding is available through NEVI, Charge Ahead Colorado provides up to $250,000 per project for DC fast charging. So DC fast charging is one of the three components that we're looking. So this is like us finding, like getting a team together, like, you know, it really would need to probably be one student and one faculty member that could, you know, facilitate the collegiate track submission. And then we would basically work with them to co-develop a community solar program. That's really how that I would envision that to work. And one of the things, just to provide a little additional opportunity, is I don't personally have a lot of experience with developing an RFP process. And this is really like a request for proposal. The way that I really envision us building out these community solar resources is by creating the opportunity for existing solar developers and or battery storage and or EV charging to submit an RFP. Ideally, we would like to see somebody that has experience with all three of those technologies: the solar, the photovoltaic cells, the battery storage, and the EV charging, to create an RFP that would fulfill. Like, for example, if Front Range Community College gives us their blessing to co-develop a community solar pilot program at their Westminster campus, we would be involved. Like, really the expertise that I'm really expecting us to bring to the table is around marketing and project management. And this is one of the things that we will need to build out. And this is one of the things that we can, the better that we build out project management expertise for our projects specifically, so that we can, because we want to create a project pipeline where, you know, because we want to create as many of these projects as possible, because the more projects that we can fulfill and work with different developers, like Front Range Community College or CU Boulder, they may have their own hyper local, like, or even Fort Collins. There may be a community solar developer that's really strong in Fort Collins that only services Northern Colorado. So the opportunity to really co-develop a project with a college, and like we talked about libraries, like libraries, you know, have a different governance, like the board of directors for different libraries. And our expectation is that most libraries have a different board of directors for each county that they service. Like Anythink is a little different. Anythink is a collective, I believe, of that basically serves Adams County. So Anythink has their own board, and the opportunity for us to, like, as a site scout, to create economic incentives within this. And that's one of the things that we will amplify, because I'm not a Web3 and blockchain expert as far as creating or coming up. There's other people that have done some really cool things with economic incentives, like us. The more that we continue to contribute And we have the opportunity, like we're creating a board of stewards for Solar EV of Colorado. And like myself, I'm a chief digital alchemist. Tyler is the chief executive officer. And there's going to be other opportunities for us to have a well-rounded board of stewards, because the main thing that we're thinking about here is we want to have, one, a solid submission for our team. So we want a well-rounded team, but then also on the even more important thing, in my opinion, is besides our Community Energy Innovation Prize submission, is that we want to have an investor-ready company for when we do our security token offering, that when somebody looks at our project, they're like, man, they have a well-rounded team. This is a company that I want to invest in. I think that they will be great stewards with my investment and return. Because when somebody makes an investment, the biggest thing is, am I going to get my money back, right? That's the thing that every investor asks is, if I invest my money with this project or this company, will I get at least my money back, and ideally a return on top of that? So that's really how that we're looking at building our team submission and the project, the DAO, the company that we're going to bring public. So that was a long-winded deviation there, but hopefully that answers the question. So we're personally looking to submit on our team submission under the clean energy ecosystem. So here's the three tracks that are talked about: the collegiate track, ecosystem track, and then I think that there's a so it's a clean energy and manufacturing. So the collegiate track, the clean energy, and then the manufacturing are those three tracks. And they haven't posted, there was, they just hosted the informational webinar on Thursday, and they haven't posted the webinar recording. I'm expecting that there will be an update here probably early middle of this next week, where this webinar that was hosted on October 12th should be made available. And this is where, so yeah, here's the clean energy ecosystem. That's what we're creating, our project surrounding solar EV and our other teams that we're talking about, barring that there's not any rules prohibiting that. So the submission deadline for the clean energy ecosystem and manufacturing tracks are February the 2nd. And one of the things, just to let everybody know too, on the forum, after we get the blog post published, I'm actually planning to create a forum post that says, hey, we're looking to connect with collegiate track partners in Colorado. And this can just be one additional thing that we can create within our submission narrative about how that we're wanting to engage with the community. Here's all the efforts that we did to connect with collegiate track partners. We hosted these office hours. We posted on the forum. We did email outreach, and hopefully that will materialize into real conversations where we actually get a collegiate track partner that will submit, where we can partner with them and co-develop a project with them. And just to continue the thoughts, like we talked about a pilot program in Boulder. So like Boulder School District, because besides collegiate track, because here's one of the things that's a little bit of a disconnect, is besides when you think about community buildings, we've talked about libraries, we've talked about colleges. One of the other community buildings that's a huge opportunity is government buildings for public schools. And when you think about something that serves the public community, a school building is another really strong opportunity. And there's a lot of bureaucracy that exists within school districts. So like here, we're talking about creating a pilot program. So the superintendent of, I don't know if anybody knows Rob Anderson, but the superintendent of school district RE2, that would be another opportunity, because the thing that's fundamentally different about a college versus a high school, for example, is that high schools are a lot closer connected to people that pay an energy bill. Like people that are attending colleges, that might be a mix of people that are paying an energy bill or not. But one thing that's for sure is that parents of school-age children are absolutely paying an energy bill. And this would be an opportunity that the more that we can engage community, and like the other thing, we talked a little bit about creating community solar around faith-based organizations. So here's 4 buckets: colleges, libraries, school districts, and then faith-based organizations. Like if we focused on only, and gig workers, that would be a 5th one. If we focus on only those 5 verticals for community engagement and think of those, because those all have very different navigation as far as connecting with people, fostering relationships with people. And that's one of the things that the more that each of us, like, I'm going to be the poster waving for the gig worker niche. As an Uber and Lyft driver that's done over 13,000 trips, I can speak to that community probably better than anybody else on call today. Now, Tyler, she does most of the heavy lifting within our Airbnb business. So the opportunity for her to have more solid conversations with Airbnb hosts, because like you talk about another sub niche within gig workers are Airbnb hosts, because the thing that's fabulous about Airbnb hosts is that they're paying the utility bill, right? So the opportunity for us to create, like right now, we're primarily focused on a community solar model surrounding parking lots, but make no mistake, we will absolutely incorporate a solar EV model surrounding single family homes as well. And we will likely have those conversations prior to the submission and finalization of solar EV project in February of 2024. So right now we're really wanting to focus on the parking lot model, because that's where we can deploy larger capacity and have more impact for the low and moderate income households. But anyway, let's go back here. We got Amy on the list here. I'm going to put that. So besides what we've already been talking about here, would you like to add anything to the list, Robert, from a prioritization standpoint for our upcoming working group conversation?
No, I don't have anything.
Cool. Well, and this is one of the things that we will continue to do and get better at. This is something as we continue where people get more confidence and within like contributing to Notion. This is something that hopefully that people can come in here and have some confidence about just coming in and contributing within Notion themselves. So I'll put a little call out. This is stuff that we talked about on our previous working group. And I feel really good about everything that we talked about. I'm going to just scroll through this list. This is something, this box here, and I don't know if you can see the little red. This is something that is a cool feature within Notion. The reason that it's so neat is that it is a sync box and it shows up like this is our main project homepage for solar EV. So this, you see that same thing here. So whenever I update this, it gets automatically updated. And then like, so right now, solar EV best practices. Oh, this is one of the things we talked about, NCSP, goals for community solar. This is one of the things that is an opportunity for us to expand upon within our own profile within NCSP. And this is something that I've personally left blank. I don't think that we've got enough to answer, and we'll be able to have a lot better idea of like my organization expects to have this number of subscribers by 2025. I have no idea what that number looks like. Like for 2020, if it's said by 2024, like right now we have a goal of 10 LMI subscribers for each of our pilot communities, Boulder, Welby, and Inglewood. So 30 LMI subscribers. And then since a gig worker may not necessarily be an LMI subscriber, the goal we put forward for gig workers is to onboard 100 gig workers into what we're building. We don't really have a vehicle for doing that yet. That'll become a lot more clear anyway, I've got some ideas surrounding that. So anyway, collegiate track partners, and I'm actually going to bump this up here, change this to. So I talked about the roadmap. This is something that there's a Google Doc for. I'm going to link that up for everybody here so that everybody's got that in Zoom. The roadmap, this is copy and paste from what we submitted to our Solar Prize Round 7 and Community Power Accelerator Round 2. So wanted to just have that as a foundation, and this is something that we will be updating and packaging in a more consumable manner. And that's something that we'll talk about and we'll continue to talk about, because a roadmap is an important component of any project and successful business, and something that we should continue to update. So roadmap, funding, capitalizing, and this is an ongoing opportunity. Like I've got a personal next action. Let me, I'm actually just going to go back to our agenda here real quick, because that was something that I added in the bottom of our carryover here. So official rules and create the lettuce meet. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to keep that one as an offline thing with the lettuce meet for the breakout conversations. That way that we can find the most inclusive time for the people that are interested in being a part of those conversations. So other than that, we've got a few minutes left. It looks like that Tyler had to hop off. Do you, Amy and or Robert, have any final thoughts before we bring it to a wrap here today?
So I put something in chat about, you mentioned Xcel Energy, and I put in here something about United Power, and they're an energy co-op in the northern area. And so I wasn't sure if you were familiar with them, but they might be more approachable and less bureaucratic than trying to do something with Xcel. So I thought, and they're
okay. Yeah, and you're absolutely correct. The thing is that anybody operating in Colorado, and this is one of the reasons that Colorado, and I'm actually going to show on here, because everybody that operates in Colorado is subject to operating under the Colorado Public Utility Commission. So it's not that Xcel wants to see proliferation of community solar. They have to. It's the Colorado State Legislature has passed multiple regulations that favor community solar. And this is one of the best resources that I've found here, Robert, that really talks about like Colorado's community solar program. And this talks about the history. So it's not necessarily that Xcel wants to allow community solar to proliferate. They have to allow it to proliferate. But you're absolutely correct. United Power is actually, and that's one of the, are you personally serviced by United Power?
yes.
So I also believe that Nick on our team is as well. And Nick actually is energy independent. He's got a full-blown Tesla home solution, including Tesla power walls and Tesla panels installed at his home. And United Power, the reason that United Power is interesting is that they're actually separating from an association because they don't want to continue to get energy from Xcel. So like the more, because United Power, from what I understand, is and it says it right here, they're a rural electric cooperative where, because the main difference between like Xcel is an investor-owned utility. Like Xcel is a publicly traded company. United Power is categorically a cooperative. So Excel's main goals is to provide a return for the investors. United Power's number one goal is to provide the cheapest energy possible. And when you think about that, that's a much better goal for an energy company that's servicing customers instead of servicing the investors. So that's one of the things that, like, right now we're wanting to focus on the biggest opportunity in Colorado, which is Xcel Energy. Xcel Energy has 1.5 or 1.6 million customers. The other reason that it's more strategic for us to focus on creating technology and infrastructure is Minnesota, which is also serviced by Xcel, is another state for community solar that I think most people would agree has more favorable community solar. So where I would really see those conversations proliferating is if we get a collegiate track partner that says, hey, we want to develop co-develop a community solar program, and that community solar program primarily operates in a non-Xcel Energy thing. Now, that being said, we want to see community solar proliferate. We're just wanting to focus our efforts right now that will provide the biggest rewards, potential rewards.
Okay.
So if you want to drive the conversations with United Power, Robert, we can take that offline, and that's something that you may even have. Like I said, Nick is personally on United Power as well. One of the other things too that is an opportunity that I haven't went through myself. We've talked about NCSP. There's another opportunity. It's the I2X, and I'll probably send an email offline since we're already buttoned up here with that, and my computer's getting a little. But it's the interconnection exchange. So, like here in Colorado, that has multiple power utilities in play, is whenever we interconnect with the grid, interconnecting with Xcel Energy will be a very different process than interconnecting with United Power. And the better that we get at interconnecting with different utilities, the more that we'll be able, and the more that we just refine these types of processes and procedures. And this is kind of where we're really wanting to, anyway, this is another opportunity. This is similar to NCSP, but it's a very different conversation. And the main thing is, like, with your input, ideas, and practical solutions, we can work together to solve grid interconnection challenges in our distribution and transmission power networks. So one of the things that we're doing with how that we're creating these distributed energy resources is that it will functionally allow us to become a next generation virtual power plant. And that's one of the things that Energy Web is really looking through technology, is to provide open source solutions for people such as ourselves that will be a virtual power plant. And this is one of the things that we're going to be incorporating into a organizational architecture for how that we're building our entities, because we're looking, like we talked about Solar EV Co-op DAO. Then we talked about Solar EV of Colorado. So the DAO would be like at national or global level from a governance standpoint. Colorado would be, of course, at a state. But then we also have a need with hyper local, because like Boulder, for example, they actually wanted to bifurcate themselves from Xcel. And I don't know what the history of that is, because this is something that I'm just starting to discover, and I don't know what those conversations look like, but the Public Utility Commission rejected that. So this is one of the reasons that Boulder is a no-brainer, in my opinion. And a lot of people, like, there's multiple different industry associations that are based in Boulder that also amplify the strategic aspects of launching a program in Boulder. But that's one of the things that we'll continue to unpack and share. And the better that we can do sharing and amplifying those stories, because like right now, one of the narratives that has happened here is that Excel just did another rate increase that went into effect in September. So, and that's one of the things, like going back to the Web3 AI for energy, that can potentially amplify through a data perspective is like, okay, well, Excel raised the rates. How much did that really impact people? And without having data, and this is one of the expectations, I have no expectations that power companies, especially like Excel, may share data. And that's one of the things that I'm not a data guy, but anyway, I can talk about this stuff all day long. Very, very excited about community solar, and the opportunity only amplifies the more and more that I learn about the opportunities surrounding community solar, and specifically the opportunity with where we're at here in Colorado, because not only is Colorado a great place for community solar, but Colorado is also a great place from technology. Unequivocally, Colorado is a much stronger hub for technology than Minnesota. I don't think anybody will debate that. Now, while Minnesota may have more favorable community solar regulations, we've got a much stronger hub for technology and the people that can help us build these solutions here in Colorado than Minnesota has. And that's one of the things that we will continue to provide opportunities, and hopefully we'll get some traction with these collegiate track conversations here coming up this next week and for the next week or two. But anyway, it's been fun hanging out with you all. Looking forward to, and like I said, I'll get the meetup group created for our office hours. That's going to be a hybrid event at the College Hill Library. Hopefully, Robert, if that falls within your time schedule, that's something that you can join me with. Tyler, I'm sure will stay here watching our 2-year-old while I'm doing the hybrid event thing up the street from me, but we'll get that event posted and shared later today. But anyway, everybody have a great rest of your Sunday afternoon. It's an absolutely wonderful day, fall day in Colorado today.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Yep. Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.